As many of you know, I've covered the Las Vegas Raiders for a couple of years on this channel before we broadened out to start covering more world news, events, and other interesting stuff, being the fact that my Las Vegas Raiders are not interesting at all. In fact, I just wasted several hours of my life watching the Raiders at home get decimated by another 2-8 team, the Cleveland Browns. And here's my takeaway from this game. The Las Vegas Raiders are the worst team in the NFL. We are the worst quarterback, worst offensive line. We have the worst coaching staff, worst ownership, worst everything. You name it, the Raiders are the worst at everything. And I, for one, am at a point in my life where I'm almost ready to just stop tuning in and watching the Raiders. I don't know if I'll even watch another Raiders game the rest of this season because of the fact that we absolutely stink. Every single measure, every metric, the Raiders are terrible. Let's talk about this offensive line. I know that we're missing JPJ and we're missing Colton Miller, but it doesn't matter. These are NFL level players. They were selected out of the draft or free agents or undrafted free agents, and therefore they should be able to play in the NFL at least at a decent level. And the offensive line for the Las Vegas Raiders is abysmal. It is worse than abysmal. It is, in my opinion, the worst in the league. What do you think, Cougar? Is it the worst in the league? He thinks it's so bad he won't even stay here and talk to you about it because he's embarrassed to be a Raiders fan himself, just like I am today. And I gotta say, at this point, I think it was a huge mistake in drafting Ashton Jeanty. Not because Ashton Jeanty isn't great, Ashton Jeanty is, but I think that the Raiders made a mistake because they're going to ruin this kid's career because they did absolutely nothing, and I mean nothing whatsoever, to address the offensive line in the offseason. And this has led Ashton Jeanty to fight for his life for every single inch that he gets when he carries the ball, if they even let him carry the ball, because of the offensive line is so terrible. Forsyth is terrible. Meredith is terrible. You name it on down the line. Parham is terrible. DJ Glaze has regressed. We thought DJ Glaze was going to be a starting right tackle caliber guy coming out of his rookie year where he really flashed. And under Pete Carroll's son, he has regressed. He looks absolutely horrible out there, and I just don't understand why Pete Carroll insisted on bringing his son here. Pete Carroll's son is not a good offensive line coach. Our offensive line looks absolutely lost. They do not look prepared whatsoever every single game. And that has affected Geno Smith. Geno Smith is not as bad of a quarterback as it appears that he is this season. And the reason is because of the offensive line. The offensive line, if we even could just be a top 20 offensive line, I think Geno Smith would be a top 20 quarterback. But Geno Smith has no time back there whatsoever. And when he does have time, I'll say this, Geno Smith does hold the ball too long. He needs to take those shots where it's just dink and dunk it off because of the fact that he knows that he doesn't have an offensive line. And I think that makes the Raiders a worse team. And I believe, in my opinion, that the Raiders would be better off going with AOC with a bad offensive line. Why? Because AOC got really good last year and the year before at just doing those checkdowns when it's not there. If he's got all day to throw, he'll throw it deep. But if not, he will be a checkdown Charlie. And in this offense, with this offensive line, you got to be a checkdown Charlie. So here's my takeaway from it right now. The defense, I mean, we got rid of Jacorian Bennett. Now we have no cornerback whatsoever. That was a terrible, terrible idea. Getting Thomas Booker, I think he's a decent player, but when you give up your starting level corner for nothing, just a flat trade, and now you have nobody back there in the backfield who can stop anything, it is absolutely disastrous. Here's what the Raiders need to do moving forward. Number one, I'm sorry to say, but we're firing another head coach. Pete Carroll is gone. I think that the issue here is Pete Carroll. I don't think it's Chip Kelly. I think it's Pete Carroll. It could be Chip Kelly as well. Maybe you fire both of them. But I think the Raiders are going to regurgitate yet another head coach. And this is getting expensive for the Davis family and Tom Brady to keep having all. Remember, John Gruden's still on the payroll to this day. So They're paying multiple coaches to not coach for the Raiders. I think we would have been better off keeping Antonio Pierce. To be 100% honest, I think if you kept Antonio Pierce, this team would be better. They'd be playing harder, they'd be playing better, and we wouldn't be 2-9. Now, with that being said, here's the bright spot. You're going to get rid of a head coach. I think maybe even a general manager. I don't know. I think maybe everybody gets fired after this abysmal year. The only thing that's going to be saving grace for both the GM and the head coach of the Raiders right now is the fact that they've fired so many in a row every single year that Mark Davis is probably tired of firing people, and that may be the only reason why they keep their job. But either way, no matter what happens, whether you get a new head coach, you get a new GM, you get a new offensive coordinator, you get a new offensive line coach, all of that, here's what needs to happen for the Las Vegas Raiders. If they have any hopes of salvaging the future 2 to 3 to 4 years from now, they need to go offensive line in the first round. I know we want to get a quarterback, but if you get a quarterback and you have no offensive line, it's not going to matter. So I think that you could get a really good quarterback late first round. You trade back in and you get one. But it's got to be offensive line. We have to have a replacement for Colt Miller. He's becoming injury prone. This is now the second year in a row where he's just not there. Third year, actually. So we need a new left tackle. Colt Miller's he's not able to stay healthy now. JPJ needs to stay, but he needs some help. I think that the Raiders need to go left tackle first, 10. I think maybe you trade back a couple of spots to get some more draft capital to use to get back into the first round, but it's got to be left tackle. Got to be left tackle. There is no ins and buts about it because Colton Miller cannot stay healthy, and without a left tackle, you've got nothing. Then you need to get a guard. You need to get a really top-notch first-round level guard that can just dominate. And then you have to go quarterback. And how you do that, whether it's a quarterback late in the first round, you trade back in, or it's a guard in the first round, or a right tackle. We need some big-time names on that offensive line because Ashton Jeanty needs somebody to be able to open up holes to run through. And if he can't, it's not going to work. End of story. So it's got to be offensive line. You got to win in the trenches. Offensive line in the first, second round of this coming draft. And the Raiders are going to have a high draft pick because I don't see the Raiders winning. If you can't beat at home, you can't beat the Browns, you've got no business being in the NFL. I feel sad for Max Crosby. To be honest, if I was Max Crosby, I would be begging for a trade. I would be like, get me the hell out of here because this team doesn't know what they're doing. Those are my 2 cents that I got on it. Raiders content. There you go. People have been asking, where am I at? Here I am. Raiders, we suck, man. But don't worry. We're also going to follow all the other news and stuff that's going on in the country, around the world, politics, interesting stories. We're kind of broadening out. We've changed the name from the Raider D podcast over to the Daily Rumble. Hope it doesn't put you in a bad mood. But that is what it is. We want to stay on brand because it's throughout all of our social media accounts now. Daily Rumble, check out us also on the Substack. Link is in the bio.